There's an interesting argument that I have noticed being peddled by some prominent atheists on the internet. A lot of them seem to be arguing that religious institutions, like churches and mosques, should be paying taxes to the federal government. They point to the fact that these institutions are incredibly wealthy and could generate up to $71 million in tax revenue. Here are a few clips of this point being made.
There are 300,000 religious congregations in this country that pay no tax, no federal, state, or local, no income, sales, or property tax, and they own $600 billion in property, like St. Patrick's Cathedral on Fifth Avenue in New York. If you sell cheap sweaters like they do across the street at Forever 21, you pay taxes. But if you're selling the invisible product of eternal whatever, no taxes.
Places of worship not paying taxes is fucked up enough. Very few people discuss that, but it is fucked up. Because what you're doing there is you're giving religion favoritism under the guise of you're treating them equally. But you're not treating them equally. Treating them equally would be they have to pay taxes like everybody else.
Now, I understand completely where they are coming from. I am an atheist myself, and it can be incredibly frustrating to see what seems like preferential treatment to religious institutions. I mean, why can't churches and mosques pay taxes like the rest of us? Wouldn't that be fair? That way, everyone would be held to the same standards. Well, you see, that's the wrong way to approach this issue. Religious institutions are classified as 501c3 organizations, which are nonprofits. This categorization also includes museums, charities, foundations, and other organizations. Now, in order to tax churches legally, we would also have to tax everything else that falls over 501c. We all agree that this would be ridiculous, and it would completely erase the idea of a nonprofit organization. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, that's an easy fix. Let's just make it so only churches can apply. Well, you see, that would be technically disfavoring religion over other institutions, which is strictly prohibited by the First Amendment. The First Amendment states that the government cannot create a law that either favors or disfavors religion. And while we're on this topic of the First Amendment, I would also like to bring up separation of church and state. Bill Maher, Secular Talk, and Cult of Dusty have all made videos calling out the blurring of the line between church and state in our educational system. This includes cases where schools teach creationism, aka Christianity disguised, to their students instead of evolution. I agree 100% with them here. This sort of stuff does not belong in any publicly funded school. With all that being said though, I find it interesting how quickly they forget the separation of church and state when it comes to taxation. If the government did tax churches, the wall between them would collapse, therefore giving churches the justification they need to be able to teach creationism in class. And unfortunately, they would have every right to. If they pay taxes, they should have a say in what's taught, since they would be paying into the educational system. This is why I take this issue seriously. Separation of church and state goes both ways. With all that being said though, there is an advantage churches have over other 501c organizations, and it is an issue. They don't have to file an annual 990. This will have to be a topic I tackle another day because admittingly I do not know a whole lot about it. But from what I have read, it allows churches to avoid accountability and having to verify legal compliance. Well, thank you for watching. This is my first video, so it's probably going to be a little bit shaky, and I'm having to use audio from my my computer, so it might not be the best, but eventually I'll work my way up to having better equipment. But if you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe for more.